Okay. Hello, this is Nicole Whitlock with the Ecom Seller Summit. And today's masterclass is going to be hosted by Talor Offer. Now, Talor is known very much in the retail space. He has a long history of selling products, helping promote products, and helping people to be successful when they're getting into stores. So today's topic for him, he'll be covering selling your Amazon products by wholesale and how to successfully expand into retail. So I thank you so much, Taylor, for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get started into your awesome masterclass and talk about your story.
All right. Thanks a lot, Nicole. It's great having me here. Great being here. And hi to everyone as well. So, yes, as Nicole mentioned, I'm mostly dealing with offline sales, like not only, also special online channels, but the majority of my business is offline, meaning department stores and other stuff like moms and pop stores and so forth. We'll talk about it very shortly. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to expand yourselves out of Amazon because, most of the people who watch these sessions are an Amazon seller. And as an Amazon seller, I was just sent a link. Um, I was just being sent a link a few days ago, I think on Friday, from a friend. And he was showing me this and he said, hey, you must use that link. So let me share with you guys the link because it's interesting what's happening here. And I was reading about, what happened in China in 2020. More than 50% of the retail sales come from e-commerce in China. And I was thinking like, wow, what's happening in China? And then with all the COVID and with all the issues that we had in USA during 2020, not to mention before that, I was scrolling here and seeing what I know from reality. The figure will be 50%. So in the USA, 50% out of the retail sales are in online. That means that you're selling somewhere on the 15%, but you're missing another 85. Not missing, but you have a potential of another 85, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk about this 85% because that's what I do, and allow me to introduce myself very quickly as far as I can. My trip, I would say, was started somewhere around 2001, 2002. I was living in Japan a couple of years, and then I moved to China in 2003. And I happened to be a very lucky person to get to work with a quite strong group that was selling products to Walmart, BCBG. And later on, when I joined them, we also did like Darion jeans, which is a Beyonce's denim line, and that was very interesting. And I figured, like, I'm on the own offline business and everything, and I've seen since 2006, 7, 8 people starting to move stuff to online, starting to open. Back in those days, it was eBay, it was a little bit of madeinchina.com. Even Alibaba were just starting to grow, and we didn't really realize what's going to happen with all these big platforms. Amazon was not something that you would talk about at all. Anyways, I understood kind of that, my offline road is where I'm going, and I'm going to stay there, and I'm just going to make it bigger and deeper. So around 2010, I started my own private labels, and I did a bunch of them. And I was selling them to Macy's and Bloomingdale and Urban Outfitter, Anthropology, a lot of different department stores, something around 60 different retailers in the States. Scrolling fast forward to 2017, I ended up with my last line, and I thought, like, what's going to happen next? What am I going to do? And then out of the woods, a lot of Amazon sellers came and asked me to help them to sell their products offline. So with that said, this is like my very, very shortened bio, and I think we heard about it a bit before in our promo. And yeah, so let's get to business. And here are some good advices and tips as far as I can. I'll do my best about doing this, like really actually selling your products offline. So if you don't mind, I will share my screen, and I have these lovely slides made uh, by me, but mainly by Amy Weiss, which is my partner on this road. And some of you may know Amy Weiss, and she appears on other sessions on Ecom Seller Summit, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, she's not here with us today, so I'm going to do it alone. But as you can see, it's presented by me and by her. expanding your sales channels. So Amy has with me together 27 years of combined experience and everything. She is like doing a lot of different inventing products and private level sellers topics, and she's doing a lot of live shows and everything. She's the greatest consultant I ever met in my life. And about myself, I spoke enough. So let's go down to business. So the opportunity beyond Amazon, as I said, now, yeah, we updated it just before when we looked at the numbers of 50% e-commerce, which means that 85% of the retail is off of Amazon. Now, that means that if you look, for instance, just as an example, if you look at specialty stores, some people in the States call them moms and pop stores. And the meaning is like standalone stores where, you know, there's a road outdoor stores, and there are some of them that are in the mall, but we're not talking about retailers or big chain stores, just standalone store. Sometimes they have 2 or 3 or 4 or even maximum 5 of them. If it's a family business, it would be a bit more, but you know, small companies, small organization and stores. Selling these stores, and that's what we're going to talk about, not only, but also, so selling these stores, if you look at numbers, well, supposedly that you start to understand how to sell and you learn how to do it and you succeed, and it's not that big deal to succeed with that, and you're selling 40 stores, which is like a very tiny target, because you know 40 stores, selling to 40 stores, once you know and sell to one of them, then the other 100 to make would be very easy. But I took here like a very tiny example of minimizing under the minimum numbers by saying 40 stores, and the minimum order of a store like that would be $500 a month. Now, when we say a minimum order, some stores, as I've seen that, and I've seen a lot of them, because you know, back at 2015, 16, 17, and also 18, I was sending my own products to those specialty stores, and I understood that like there's a gold on the floor here. There's just money on the floor. Like these stores, they're having hard time, you know, to expand their product lines. And it's not like they can go on Alibaba and buy stuff from there, because, you know, it wouldn't worth them in terms of shipping and freight and all the efforts. Not to mention that, you know, they are not built to that business. Their business is local. They don't do all this import stuff that we as an Amazon seller are doing. So anyway, $500 is like a very minimal amount of order to take from to receive from such a store. So if you multiply the numbers, you have $240,000 extra sales increasing in your business. Now, the workflow, as we're going to see, is something that can be simplified. It shouldn't be like a big headache, and it shouldn't take a lot of time from your business. It could be something that growing, you know, side by side with your existing Amazon business. I would never say to anyone, leave your Amazon business. Yes, I've seen people that I coach doing it. That's the truth. But I would never recommend doing so, because, you know, you have a basket, just try, you know, not to put all the eggs inside. You could always have another basket, or 3 of
Correct.
them, or 4, or even 10 of them. And when I
I
start talking
totally
about,
agree. We should all diversify. Go
exactly,
ahead.
yeah, and when I talk about this, I run into a lot of misconceptions, like, why would they buy from me? Why in the world would they buy specifically from me? There's so many other people, vendors, sellers, big companies in the market. So that's the thing with specialty stores. And actually, it's the same with special channels, which we will talk about as well. The thing is that usually they would go, if they go once in a year or once in 2 years, they would go to exhibitions like a show. You know, you have the New York show, New York Now show, you have the CES, and a lot of, you know, different shows as like spreading all over the country. Not to mention that now there are no shows, especially in 2020, since this pandemic came to our life. But even before that, I've seen like, you know, that year by year, there was a deduction of people coming, of the amount of people coming to visit those shows, because they figured, like, as far as I understood from conversation with people, they figured like, you know, spending flight tickets and hotels and all this time and all this, you know, efforts, and you cannot come just as a business owner. You have to bring someone with you to do all this, you know, 3, 4, 5 days of searching products and everything. It's tiring and exhausting, and sometimes you come back home with like, what, 2, 3 different lines products. It's not
Yeah.
enough.
Yep.
So these guys are literally sitting there waiting for us to get to them, and we usually don't. So those who are, you know, expanding and everything. That's what they do, and I'm part of them. So that's about that question. And we will talk later about payment terms and everything, because you do not give credit in terms of specialty stores, moms and pop stores. There is no credit. This term just do not exist at all at this at this channel of sales. And that also answers the question about bigger brands in the market. I mean, when it comes to bigger brands, I mean, they could see them on Amazon, the specialty stores, and they could approach them, and they could get a yes or no or whatever it is. They could find out that this, bigger brands that are in the market, let's say in Amazon market, they know nothing about offline and how to work offline. And then as big as they are, it doesn't worth anything to those stores. So they keep on searching for other like medium or small businesses. And that's what we're here for. We are here for to see how can we do the step rather than just sitting there and waiting for them to approach us if they would at any point in our life. So before that, a few facts. When we look at online, and you're always welcome to ask me questions or to correct me, Nicole, because I'm doing my
Yeah.
best here, but
Mhm.
I love questions. Uh, yeah. So online retail leaders, if you look at the top, and this is what I just mentioned before, that it's not only specialty stores, not only that. When you look
Yeah.
out of Amazon, there's a lot of different channels that you could sell it. One of the channels that we usually talk about is the .com, the e-com, the big e-com.
Right.
And if you look at the
Correct.
top 10, you would see obviously that Amazon, eBay, and Walmart are the top three, and then Etsy, and then boom, number 5 is Home Depot. Now, Home Depot is a retailer. It's a physical store. So is Target and Best
Yeah.
Buy and Macy's and Lewis. So as you can see, like these department stores, they have like a whole e-commerce growing like daily. Why am I saying daily? Because if you look at Macy's back at 20, even 2019, they were number 10. And before that, they were number 30 or 40. So they grew quite very fast at the online, reaching like better result even than Lois. And Lois is like, a giant. So
Yeah. And
that's
I will say this, in 2020, there's a huge shakeup in those top 10. So in the top 10, actually, some of the grocery retailers actually hit in the top 10. So the 2020 stats look even more interesting. Macy's is not even on the list. Like, there's a couple of them that didn't even make the list in the top 10 for 2020. And of
right.
course, that's because of the pandemic.
Yeah, 2020 shaked everything. Yeah, bottom and up. But then
Yeah.
I would not talk about all these like Macy's, Best Buy, Home Depot, all these department stores in
Yeah.
terms of selling in store, but rather online. Why? Because you have to understand there's different teams of people running the e-com and running the offline channel. It's
The physical
different teams. It's
stores.
like a whole
Yeah.
different company. They don't even purchase together. I mean, they know what each and other purchase, but they don't work closely together, and that's because it's a different type and model of business. So we're talking about these online channels, which are a lot of them, and you're only looking at like the top 10 here, which obviously you're selling at least at one of them, either Amazon or eBay.
Yeah.
I believe in Amazon. And then you're looking at the offline specialty stores and regional chains. Regional chains, as we mentioned before, is like small chain store. They're not that big that you would have to know like a lot in order to sell them. It's that point of the business where you can still, as a medium, even small, or even very small, even one-man show business, you could still approach them and see results. Now, I love
Right.
facts because that's what Amy always brings us. She's bringing us facts, although she's not here, but it's written. So yeah, the retail is growing. Some people talking about what's happening in retail. Is it going down? Is there an apocalypse on there? But I've been hearing those questions and marks since I don't know almost a decade, and up till now I haven't seen any apocalypse. Well, some of them went down, but at the same time, some
Yeah.
of them went up. And yeah, I mean, I have a lot
Correct.
of good examples. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have several. We definitely had several stores like chains that went completely out of business, and some of the regional things went out of business as well. But there are some that actually just expanded significantly because of many different reasons, including the pandemic. So that's true.
Right. Even I mean, even Sears that went down chapter 11 at 2015 or 16, they're back to business with offline like physical stores starting last year, which is a surprise for most of the people, but not for me, because if you think about it, especially now, as long as whenever this pandemic issue and all this closing people in the houses situation would end, lockdowns and everything, then you would see like a massive raise of the offline, because people are like waiting to go outside and touch products. There's a great commercial of Bed Bath and Beyond. You can see it on my profile on Facebook. I'm always excited about that. With when the people is like the girl is walking into the store and she's asking like, can I touch this and can I touch that? Can I really touch that? Is it a same day? Is it the next day shipping? So no, it's the same day shipping. You just touch it, you take it, you buy it, and then you go, like laughing at it. So yeah, people wants to buy in terms of seeing the product and wearing them and touching and everything, and it would
Yes,
exist at least at the next few decades.
that's
Small
true.
specialty retail store businesses, as far as 2021, are counted as 130,000 businesses, and that's only specialty stores. There are a lot of different channels. So if we move forward and look what those channels are, so as we said, we have on the left moms and pop stores, we have the small chains and everything, we have the .com as we said before, and then we have like other channels. That's what we call them, other channels. I love those channels because the majority of the sellers, importers, wholesalers, Amazon sellers, the majority would not look at them, would not think about them. And they are a great place to expand yourselves. Now, when we talk about
Okay.
dropship, we are not talking about taking one unit from here and moving it to there. We're talking like massive dropship, which means, for instance, um, if you look at the big dropship companies like bags.com or stuff like that, what they do is they collect a lot of orders and you're selling them wholesale while they'll do the dropship themselves. They just,
Right.
divide it to one by one. You don't even know who's the customers most of the cases, like you do in Amazon, like you don't know in Amazon. And that's number one. Number two, you have boxing. Boxing means like a subscription box. If you just click simply on Google, subscription box in USA, top 10 or whatever, even top 20, you would see like enormous number of huge companies, very big and very solid. And it's a thing in the United States. Not most of, I believe that some of this, the audience today are not from the US. So for those who are not sure about boxing and subscription box, it's just, either $29.99 or $59.99 or even $99.99 of a payment where you're getting a box, subscription box, and you don't know what you're going to get. It's full of surprises. Now they do it by demographic. They do it
Yeah.
like, different for ladies, for by age, by type, by whatever, ethnic,
Yep.
and so forth. And then all these boxes, and if you look at, for instance, let's say touch of modern not touch of modern, I'm sorry, vices.com, for instance. This is one of the channels that are doing subscription box, or Pop Sugar that stopped doing it, but they
There's
do
another
very
one,
well.
Beards.com does the same thing. Like there's a bunch of
Right.
subscription boxes are growing significantly in the US. I mean, it's a very popular model over the last 2 years.
Right, and think about getting into those companies and offering them your products. Obviously, after checking that they match and everything, and we'll see how to do so. And they have like millions of subscribers. So if they buy by quantity. They would never buy like 100, 200 pieces because they cannot afford that. So yeah, boxing companies, and
Right.
then flash sales. Flash sales is like big websites in the state, like I mentioned before, Touch of Modern. What they do is Touch of Modern, for instance, they have 35 million subscribers, and they are the fastest growing platform in USA as of today. Every day they are being added with somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 new subscribers. Think about it. 34 million subscribers buying from them and getting to see your product. Okay, so that's flash sale. What they do is they send that sale, and it runs for like 48 to 72 hours, and then once it ends, you're shipping
Yes.
them like a wholesale big order, and again they split it, to the small orders, like one by one or two by two and so forth. So these are the
Right.
channels. And so how do we do it? I mean, we know the channels now. We know that there's like potential to that, and we know that the option is there. The 85% is there. So I would like, usually when I talk in different summits and everything, I'm not really, giving everything, but I'm giving as much as I
Yes,
can because we're always limited in time. But
correct.
Ecom Seller Summit is different. And that's why I'm going to try and do as far as I can within the time limit to give you as many tools as I can to really, take these tools and try to do it yourself. Like try to go out, use those tools and expand your sales. So four keys that I would use, as a basics are setup and branding, and we'll see about it very shortly. And then you have to know pricing, how to do pricing, and how to receive orders, what to do with the orders, how to get paid, how to collect money, and so forth. And then, okay, so I have branding and I have the setup and I have the pricing. So how do I find the contacts? I mean, I have to do something with all this knowledge, right? And then how do I
Yeah.
communicate with them? So if you have any questions, that's the best time to bring them up. So then I could, think about them as we go and also give some air to my mouth.
So here's the deal. So with branding, the first thing that immediately comes to mind, because I think of so many people that are doing private label or white label, like branding, that's something where you've already identified your niche, whatever your product is that you're offering. You've already identified your niche market, and you want to make sure that everything about that product when you're presenting it is there's like a level of continuity, and there's something that's real that connects that product to whoever that audience is, especially when you're talking about approaching mom and pop stores. So if it's a mom and pop store and they sell, I don't know, little kids clothes or something like that, that there's some level of what you're offering that fits within the model that they're already presenting. And you want to make sure that it is the level of, there's some continuity about the products that you're offering to that mom and pop store that matches whatever they're trying to, what they're forward facing out to the industry as well. So I think branding for me, a lot of times I think about Shopify because we teach people how to make sure that they're branding their store with the right, colors and fonts and packaging and, all of the stuff that's associated with it. And then also, the research that's associated with it before you actually start, branding it, which is all the trademarks and all that other stuff. But finding that niche and then figuring out what products you want to offer under that brand. Um, I
Right.
see here you got an amazing catalog. That is a nice catalog.
Right.
Um, it's definitely studying your competitors is the first thing that we do. We teach before you even get any further into what is it you're going to offer. Now let's go study our competitors.
Right. So, for instance, as we said, if you want to study your competitors, and let's say that you're selling whatever glass frame, and glass frame could be blue, like you have, and they could be pink, they could be black, they could be white. And if you make a deep research, you could start from big Amazon sellers, but you can also see like on Walmart, on Macy's, on all those big .com that we mentioned before. You could see big sellers or medium sellers, and keep in mind that not always they sometimes look big, but they are just as big as you, not as big as you might think. And anyway, you study your competition and then you realize that none of them did anything with dots or flowers or ships or dragons or whatever it is, something special, something different. Now, why am I saying
Yes.
about studying your competition? Because if you want to do the big step, you have to wow your products. When it's written here, wow them, it means to wow the customer. Just keep in mind that you have two customers here. You have the customer and the consumer. The consumer is the person who buys your product eventually, and then you have to impress also the customer. You're impressing twice. The customer is the buyer or whatever title they have, and there's a lot of different titles. We can talk about it later. And then you have, and that's the key. The key is to wow them, because remember, I mean, very good that your picture, for instance, that you have on Amazon, it's like 90% of your product. It's 90% of you and your face. If the picture is not boom, then in like less than a second, the consumer would scroll down and go to something else, because the
To the
first
next
thing
sense.
he
That's right.
looks at is the picture, like this is your face. And you could have the
Correct.
best product and the best service and the best everything, but if your picture is lousy or not showing what it should show, then it wouldn't help whatever reviews you have. So everybody knows that, and that's why you're investing, trying to make it like chicy or with good vibes or with different colors or backgrounds and so forth, with all, I don't know, all the, rules in Amazon, because I don't sell on Amazon, but obviously you're trying to do the best picture on earth because that's your front face. And then that's what
Okay.
wowing
So
when you look at, sorry.
I was just going to say, so if I were to, we talked about glasses frames because I'm wearing blue glasses. So if I were to, let's say, because I know that there's a lot of smaller online mom and pops that have the sell frames as well. So I'm looking at them, I'm looking at their pictures, and I see something. Maybe they're selling something similar to I am, but I need to stand out. I need them to pick up my brand. I need them to offer it in their either in their online store or in their physical mom and pop store. So having those like that one thing, like maybe if I had flowers on the corners, or I think of the Volkswagen Beetle. When the Volkswagen Beetle came out, the newer version, everyone used to have those little flowers that were hanging on the front of it, or they'd have little designs on the side of the car. So it was still a car, but what made it sort of hippie or made it sort of catchy was the fact that you would see them with the flower on the inside hanging from the mirror mirror. You'd see some kind of design on the outside of the car. So if I had some type of outside design on it that made mine just stand out just a little bit more, that may or may not entice that mom and pop shop to say, yeah, we'll consider selling your brand, we'll consider offering your brand or adding your brand to our catalog, or or is that taking it too far?
Right. That's yeah, that's exactly the thing I'm trying to say here. Like,
Yeah.
you can make nice products, you can make them like, as good as the market would be, fine with buying them, but then you want to wow them because you want to get attention. And I will see in seconds how to get that attention and everything. So not so, but that's what you want.
Okay.
So catalog is, like the most important thing. Like you could send whatever message in different medias and everything, email, whatever it is, we'll talk about it. But then you can have your link to your store, and your store should look like very good, like very, very, very good, rather than
Very
just having,
professional.
and I would give it a good example here of having a good store. Like suppose that and I love this example because this is a person I used to work with, and I'm just looking when can you see my screen now? My
I can.
website.
Uh-huh.
So the first thing you see when you log into this website is a rendering of the product, and then boom, you don't have no questions. You know exactly what you're looking at, and you know exactly what these guys are selling. And this is the most common product on earth. Think about it. Like this product is being sold like by millions and millions of different sellers. But I don't think that more than maximum 1% of them is investing at branding like these guys are. What they do here is,
Yeah, they did a really good job with photos and video. They did a great job with
right. I
photos
mean,
and
this
video.
rendering, you wouldn't believe, but this rendering cost like a few hundreds. It's nothing. Like it's not, you would think, wow, how can I do that? It's not a big deal. You go on Fiverr and you can find very easily people who does it and so forth. I'm just giving, heads up directions where to go with that. But then having this rendered just catches the eye in a way that the person who sees it says, okay, I want to see more. All right.
Okay.
So I wouldn't talk about the website and how it looks like because it's not the best outfit of the website as far as I see it. But the
But the
beginning of
scroll is amazing. The scroll is amazing. What they did with the
exactly, and
scroll is
that's what I wanted.
yeah.
That's what I wanted to show. So that's part of being wow. Okay, and then you have a catalog. A catalog could be slides, it could be PDF. I love PDF because I work with PDFs. But let's take like a quick example of what would that be. I'm sorry, no, I didn't open the right place. A catalog would be uh clean. I'm taking an old one, but this is a good catalog to view because it stands to the principles of branding. Now you have the company name, and they
Mhm.
did the same on 17 and 18. I was part of them actually. That's why I'm showing them, because I love this catalog. I have more catalogs, but obviously, yeah. Now you see the product, you see the variations, and you see what you get. It's sharp, it's clean, it's beautiful. You have this, shade of it on the bottom. You know what it says and what it does. It has a name, it has a trademark. In seconds you understand everything here. You go to the next stage, next page, boom, you're seeing different color, different background. They're taking you, they're diving with you to somewhere. This is a catalog. You see what I'm saying? I could
Yeah,
look
it's
at that and
gorgeous.
talk about it for hours, but as you can see, it's very clean, very clear, and very smart. That's what.
And I was just going to say, this is amazing. So Ian Bauer is also part of the summit, and he's going to be talking about product images. And so this will be a great example of hiring somebody to help you put together your product catalog. This is great. This
Right.
the
And
color,
then
bright, all of the descriptions, the different variations of the product. That's what you want to see. That's going to sell your product for sure.
right, and that's what we talk in terms of catalog. Now, when you looked at the catalog just now, you've seen variations on the right side, and that's something that this is the best tip I could give you guys, and it's a free on me tip, but it's like, take this tip and I beg you to use it because it's the best. Show preview of new products means that you don't need to have these products on hand. Sometimes you would think, wait a second, what does he say here? Is he saying to me to go and produce now more patterns and more these different designs from the same product, like variations of the SKU? Guys, it's cost money. And who knows if I'm going to sell them and so forth. I understand everything. Don't forget, I was living in China for 7 years. I know exactly where you guys coming from. I know all the issues with I'm sorry, with MOQ and so forth. But you don't need to have the product. All you need to have is a nice picture with rendering of your original product with the variation you created with the designer. And again, Fiverr or whatever designer you choose. Sometimes I use cheap designers, sometimes expensive ones, but it depends what I need. But you don't need to pay that much to have it on your catalog, and then you have a preview. So okay, you will ask me next, what if they order that and I don't have it? Don't worry, you just ran out of stock right now because it was a hit. But what you do know is that if you see more than 2, 3, 4, 5 different buyers or persons that are saying, hey, I like this one, do you have it? And you're going to say, obviously, that it's coming up soon or whatever it is, ran out of stock. Then you already know before you produce even one piece if this
That
is
there's
something that the
interest.
market wants. Now
Yeah,
that's
this
what you
there's
say for
interest. That's
Amazon.
what's yeah. That's gold. That's gold, guys. If you did not catch that, that's gold because you
Yeah,
want to know if there's an interest in the product. So you can put, like you said, coming soon, and to see what the interest is. And if there's interest, then okay, now I need to run down this path and do this one too. Yeah.
exactly. Now I wouldn't create a catalog with 20 SKUs and everything, and I have none of them. That would not be smart. I do need to
No.
have the basic, the shield and everything, and I believe you guys have it. So based on that shield, I want to build my future and be special. So that's for branding. I think I could talk about these hours because branding is something that I really love, but we really have to know to go to the next step, which would be pricing. So you have to speak the language when it comes to offline, because if they identify or they smell you like you're not speaking the language, you don't know what's going on, then they would be a little bit hesitating. So don't worry
Okay.
about that, because when it comes to pricing, for instance, there's very easy terms that you could use, such as LDP, which is your landed price. WSP is all the wholesale price, and then MSRP is the manufacturer suggested retail price. The MSRP is the price that you're selling on Amazon. Okay. Now, the price you're selling on Amazon, suppose that you're selling a product for, let's say, whatever, $100, and you want to wholesale it for something common, and a common wholesale price would be usually half, okay, $50. Not always, okay, but usually it would be making sense if your LDP, your landed price, is 25. So here you have a very simple math. From LDP to WSP, double it. From WSP to MSRP, double it again. Boom, you have the pricing. So you're saying, okay, what if I have my LDP somewhere around $30, $35, and I'm selling it for 50? So then you have to know that the quotation you give differs from channel to channel, from product to product, meaning that if you have a special product, yes, you could ask for $60, although you're selling it for, I'm killing my microphone with the hands, although you're selling it for $100, you could ask 60 and even 65. Why? Because let's say you have patent on that, you have special design, you have something that other people don't have. But what if I have a common product? If you have a common product, you do need to have a strong branding. So if you have this and that, then okay, it's common, but it has a lot of good branding around it, and the whole story about the company, the whole um, language. Your branding is language. I forgot to say that before. It's very important key to say language. You have a language. My language is yellow and brown. That's what I use all the way long in my catalogs, in my Lego logo, and my website, and so forth. So people recognize me.
Right. Yeah.
Getting back to the pricing, what we want is to do, like, people are doing sometimes name dropping. I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this, I know him, and so forth. So here we have term dropping. We want to use those terms with these buyers or platforms to make them understand that we understand. Okay. Now,
Okay.
what would be a markup? A markup would be the way that they make their money. Meaning, if I'm selling them wholesale price $50 and their markup is, let's say, 50%, that means they need to sell it for 75, because 50% out of 50 is 25 plus
Yes.
50
Yep.
is 75. So there is markup, and there's also margin. Some buyers are looking at margin, which is a different term. But as long as you have the basic terms, you could know, how to drop these terms on the table in a way that they would say, okay, this guy knows what he talks about. But
Okay.
at the moment, what you have to realize is that you have to get, obviously, as best price as you can in terms of LDP, or landed price, and then you have to start and play with the numbers to make sure that you're doubling twice. Now, if you cannot double twice, you might have an issue, or you might have another issue of saying, okay, I'm selling it on Amazon for $100, but then, I want them to sell it for 110, because I doubled twice and it comes to 110. So what's happening now? They wouldn't want to sell it for 110 if I sell it for 100. Like,
On
they
Amazon.
cannot
Yeah.
compete with me, right? This is
Correct.
like
Because people would
this
buy
is
it
like
for 100 on Amazon. That's right.
right. This is like MAP, minimum advertising price. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a whole different story about this policy. We can talk about it also, but sticking to the point here, you could take what you did before, the gold that Nicole mentioned and called it, like, you could take that gold and do it twice gold. Why? You could change your existing product that you do have inventory in the external warehouse in USA, and you can change a bit the product by changing the SKU, by adding a retail packaging, or by adding something small that changes, and then boom, you have a whole different new items. Now, in terms of your manufacturing, it's the same item, but in
That
terms
is
of the
like,
market,
that is gold. So
right,
take something you already have. Oh
right,
my gosh. Okay.
right.
So my first thing is to definitely understand the terms and what they mean.
Even if I have this stand and I'm selling this product on Amazon, so I would ask myself, what is Taylor talking about? Is he talking about changing the name here? No. If you add a J hook here and you
Mhm.
choose to make only the top part silver rather than black, then boom, it's a different color, it's a different
That's
product,
right.
everything is different. See what
Oh
I'm
my
saying? Then you're saying
gosh.
you have no problem selling it for $10 more, but your cost is the same cost.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh my gosh. So
thank you.
all of you who have a lot of inventory, you're trying to figure out what to do with it. I mean, if you there are people that, they buy pallets, they buy boxes of stuff, and they buy inventory in bulk in large quantities. So if you've got that inventory you've been wanting to move, like have make some modifications to it so that I mean, some of it may be as simple as replacing a label on it or something. It may be something super simple that you don't even have to have anybody do anything major to it. But if you're producing a product, that's gold, because then it's the same. Technically, it's the same product. It's just
Right,
one thing is different about it.
exactly.
So,
It's the
and
same,
it that
it's the same for you,
probably
but not the
doesn't
same for the market.
correct, and it doesn't create any. Yeah, the competition is going to be completely different because you're not competing for the exact same product. Although it is the same product, it's just slightly modified for them, for the stores. Okay,
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
gold. I like that. I like that. I really like that.
Now we get, if you call that gold, say now you have to find a new term, because what I'm talking about here is even better than gold. Trust me for
Okay.
that.
All right. All right. We'll
Okay,
look for a
so
term.
we have the branding,
So,
we have the catalog, we know the pricing. We did the small changes or not, whatever it is, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. We worked on that. We're good. We feel ready. Now what? We have to find people to buy it, right? So how would we
correct.
find them? Where are they? So there are a lot of different ways of finding them, and we'll talk about it. Me and Amy, we're talking about it for hours on our masterclass. But if you look at the basics, searching for contacts, places, you would first want to look at Yelp. So for instance, if I look at Yelp right here,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm selling, I don't know, give me an idea of what I'm selling, whatever it is.
I will say puzzles. We'll just say puzzles.
Come
So
again?
our puzzles,
Puzzles. So
Puzzles, yeah,
puzzles
puzzles.
would be toys. So I would do like, I would look for in Yelp, I would look for toys. And then as you can see, it takes me to San Francisco, California by default, because I was looking for a present to buy for a friend there yesterday. But anyway, yeah, I could change that to any, direction.
Wherever.
I could map the whole USA divided by countries and then divided by big cities. I don't want to go the whole state, but I do want to go to the major cities, which are like around what, 100, 200, 300, depends how you define a major one. So yes, let's say toys, uh, stores, toy store. Okay. And once you have the results here, and it's the same thing with yellow pages and with the other directories, and there's a lot of them, you could find local stores. Well, this one is not local because you can see Ace here, right? But this one might be a local one and so forth.
Yeah.
So I don't want to dig into that, but you understood the trick. Tantrum sounds to me at least like something that is not a chain store, but rather a local store. And if you go to that store, and here's the gold, boom, you have the website, you go to the website, you look for the contact us, you find the email, and because it's a small store, not a huge organization, these are kind of emails
And they
in these
got puzzles.
websites that are, as you can see, it's even a Gmail. It's not even, an at domain email. So that means that they are responsive, right?
Yep.
And you could offer them what you have. But if you would apply to them as is today, your chances are not good. You need to have the language, you need to have the catalog, you need to have the branding, you need to have, all this stuff up and ready. So yeah, you've seen Yelp and you've seen directories. Now, why am I mentioning here LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn is not a place where you will look for a specialty store. But if you look at LinkedIn and you want to find, let's say, I'm sorry for that, LinkedIn, what the heck? Anyway, if you look at LinkedIn, if is that my account? Yeah, it's this. If you want to sell, let's say, whatever, 1 second, I'm searching for, let's say, calls ecom buyer, because I don't want the special the physical stores. I want the .com. So here you go. You have ulta.com and calls.com e-commerce account manager. If you start connecting with these people, then at the end of the day, you're getting to the right people who would be
Who
your
can make some
key.
decisions.
And
Yeah,
I'm
who can make
dropping
some
and
decisions.
I'm taking you down to the biggest tip I could ever give you in this evening, and it's an evening for me. And my tip is, do not fill any form. Do not do it. Don't go to calls.com or Macy's.com or whatever it is and fill forms, because it's only gonna get you upset, because they never get back to you with these forms. Never, ever. I'll tell you a short story in a second about that, because it's amazing how it's the wrong thing to do. So once you apply to them on LinkedIn or Yelp or whatever it is, email, message, whatever media, and I started with that earlier, saying whatever media you apply, you need to have a brief, okay? You need to think, what is my brief? How am I presenting myself? Now, I have a bio, Talor was doing this and that, retail for 17 years. He was doing offline. He was selling 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. My product in terms of coaching is me, but your product is not you, it's your product. And you have to show that product and think how to define it short, precise, beautiful, but still attracting. Because if
so that's my elevator pitch, pretty much. If you want to make it an elevator pitch, like your short elevator pitch is like get straight to the point, and it's
exactly
short.
get straight to the point. But if it differs, they say there's a sentence saying media is the message. But not only that, the message is the media as well, meaning that if I would send them on LinkedIn, I would have to have 2 to 3 sentences. If I send them by email, I would start with the boom, but then I would have like 10, 15, 12 lines of sentences because they do want, to see another link or what. If they have power to read that, if they are, in the best mood in the morning to read, go ahead and read. Most of them would not read. They would read the first two lines and the subject. You have to keep it in mind. It's the same as the picture on Amazon. It's like taking seconds to decide if I'm going to read that or not. And if it looks like a MailChimp email, then no, people don't want to see it because they see the graphics around it and they think, oh, this is another promotion. I mean, this is another
And they just want
discount
to throw
or
it away.
whatever
Okay.
bull crap
Okay.
it is. We want it to be personal. We want the people to say, hey, I was sent an email. It's not an email that was sent to like 50,000 people. This is an email for me. That's for Talor. So if it's for me, for Talor, I'm going to read it. Even if it's not interesting, I'm going to at least look at it. But if I'm getting a MailChimp, I'm not feeling attached because it's MailChimp. Who gives a crack? Anyway, you understood.
Yes, I
Oh,
do. So let me just ask you a question because that is actually really good, a really good tip. I mean, a really, really, really good tip. So what if, because I've heard of people doing some levels of guerrilla marketing tactics where maybe they send that person like on date, let's say they start on a 5-day campaign. So I am here in Texas and maybe the person I'm reaching out to is a mom and pop shop that's in California that I know I've done research is getting a boatload of traffic. So, meaning a lot of foot traffic, people are going into their store over and over again. And I know that my product would fit perfectly in their store, but I don't live in California and, we're in the middle of COVID. So if I did a campaign, maybe I send them first FedEx something that has maybe an introduction. It's not really an official introduction, but it kind of leaves like a teaser introduction. It says, "Hey, I don't know what it'll say. Something that has a graphic on it and it says, we have something more coming tomorrow, sort of like a clue. Then the second day, we actually show a picture maybe of the product. The third day, maybe we actually send the product and we say, okay. And then the fourth day, maybe we send them brownies and the product and say, okay, I want to talk to you. I'm going to call you tomorrow at 9 p.m. or whatever, or 9 a.m. in the morning. And then on day 5, I actually, say, okay, I'm calling you or call me at this number. Like if you did some type of campaign where you gradually reach out to them so that you can get into their store, you got your product, you've given them a sample of your product, and you're sort of like, taking them along for the ride. They get a FedEx every single day. I'm not going to
yeah,
say a telegram, but like, would something like that work where you're trying to entice them to let you get into their store?
definitely. So to make
Okay.
it like, as one wave, I would say, and like short one, it's like
Okay.
finding them, presenting them, communicating, pricing, sample, order,
Okay.
payment, goodbye, hello. Why am I saying goodbye, hello? Because it's goodbye to last order, hello to the new order. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Because if they don't know you from Adam, then you do have to get them warmed up to you, but you do need to learn the lingo. You do need to learn the terms. That's one of the things I don't know. Uh,
Exactly. And when
okay.
it comes to in terms of communicating, you know, every single email that I've seen, at least in the last few years, from like big buyers, and they were teaching me how to approach the other buyers, the smaller ones, was starting with, when it was the first time, it was something like, nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you because we're not meeting in person. It's a meet you. And that made me think that they literally invested their time in typing this. They could just say, hi Taylor, yes, no, what, bring, blah blah blah. They could be very strict, but no, they wanted to say, it's so nice to meet you, I'm excited to see the sample, they're all the time excited. I mean, if I would really be excited as much as I am in emails, I would get a heart attack. I mean, but I'm always excited in the emails, always like, wow, and yes, because this gives the vibes. It gives, the
It gives
right
the energy.
part of the branding. This is part of it. Like when you see a company that really loves its product and really, smile about them, and all they want to do is just talk about these products and enjoy, and everybody party with the products and so forth. That's the kind of company you want to buy from, right? You don't want to
Okay.
buy from people who say, hello, the wholesale price 59, retail price 120, have a nice day. No, you want to be, feel alive. And you can make it
Okay.
alive from nothing, even from pens, pencils, whatever, everything, all
So
the,
do you,
all the yeah.
okay. So do you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My thought, it just was, so do you sometimes have challenges with them not even opening, even though we're talking about a smaller, this person, the example we saw was a Gmail. and we're talking about smaller, do you ever have challenges with people not opening your emails? That's usually why I was like, send them a FedEx and say, hey,
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
I
Now,
sent you an email and here's the product and here's my catalog. I really want to talk to you. I'm going to call you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Go through this and here's the pricing, blah, 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 blah. And then
right.
the next day you call them at 9, say, okay, I sent you an email. I sent you the product and a catalog. I sent you pricing. Let's talk. And so then that way it just becomes I'm excited about it. Let's
Right.
get
You
this going.
leave them to ask you about pricing. You don't present pricing from the first to the
Okay.
last.
Okay.
But and
Okay.
you can buzz them all the time, but don't buzz them too much, because then
Okay.
makes it negative. Like, give it a week or so after the first email, or 3 days, 4 days. Like, be nice, don't be a pain in the neck. That's what I'm always saying, to my kids. I'm just kidding. Uh, but seriously, I mean, it's not like that you're going to expect each and every one to respond you. Not at all. Not at all. Not even 10%. If you get the 10% or the 50%, it means that you're doing great job. You're already professional. It's very hard to get to that percentage. But we are all about massive, because remember, there are 130,000 only specialty stores. I mean, think about how many businesses. Now, that's only that. For suppose, one guy approached me with a PPE product, which is COVID related product. So I told him, listen, as of now, forget about all the pharmacies, forget about CVS, forget about all this. He said, why? If I forget them, then what do? I told him, you need to find the suppliers that are importing goods and selling them to restaurants. He says, why? I said, because once they open restaurants, they need to supply all these gloves and everything and sanitizer to the people who works there, to their visitor, and it's the same for hotels. So that's what he did. He was looking for, big wholesalers and importers and so forth, companies that supply PPE, and they were his customers. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's a lot about the number and the potential out there. And it's the same for, with LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn, you could send like tons of messages, and you could even give it to your VA and teach them how to make it properly, in a way of, not writing stupid stupid stuff, or whatever, silly messages, or I don't know, something that
Yes.
looks, crook, something that looks like, the heck is he sending me flowers here for?
Okay.
but
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
as long as you're catching what method works with you best for both emails and LinkedIn, that's where you should head to. And as long as you get your first, second, third responses, then you're on the good road, and then you go on with that. And ignore the no's, just think about the yeses. That's all you need. As I said, I mean, you build it, one shop, another store, another platform, and then you have a whole, whole new business in your company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right. I love it.
Yeah. So, well, I've been like trying my best to give as many tools as I can today. We do have, like, some limitation in terms of hours, because I could stay here and talk about this for like until tomorrow morning without even having a beer beside me. But there's no beer for tonight, and no time as well. So I would just mention quickly that me and Amy Weiss do have like 5 module training of overall 12 hours, I'm sorry, with a private Facebook group and everything. And we go into very, very deep details about all this process that I just mentioned today. And you're very welcome to touch base on Facebook or wherever you feel like. But the best would be to approach us with a link that I'll show you in a second. And it's including templates and invoicing and how payment forms look like, and line sheet. And like, there's a whole Dropbox huge folder with like everything that you could imagine that you would need for this, selling on special channels and everything. And yeah, this is the link, and we will add it later on, obviously, by Nicole. And I would be happy to have you guys there. And I would also be happy to answer any question that you might have.
All right. Well, I just want to say this. Here's the deal. Clearly, Talor knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to retail and getting into retail. And if you have a product that you've been wanting to get more exposure, more eyeballs, take advantage of the 85% that we're not tapping into, because the majority of us are online sellers. We're just going to be honest about it. We are. And yes, there has been some stores that have gone out of business because of COVID, but there's still a lot of stores that are still operating and functioning. A lot of mom and pops did survive. And so this is your opportunity to learn more about getting into retail and taking advantage of the strategies. So definitely check out Talor and Amy's class. In addition to that, he is offering, for those people who decide they're going to upgrade to the All Access Pass, he is offering a one person, a lucky winner. So we'll draw a name out of all the All Access Pass members. One lucky person is going to get a 30-minute consultation with him. Again, if you don't remember at the beginning of this conversation, he mentioned Beyonce, so that's all I needed to know. Like he's clearly rolling with people that are way above my current pay grade, but that's all right. Nicole is on the come up. I just want to say that this is your opportunity to change the trajectory of your business in 2021. If you're looking to expand and grow, he gave us a lot of great information, a lot of great strategies. You know, me thinking about it because I'm an online seller, all the way in online seller, and then trying to step outside of that and go, okay, look at it from a retail standpoint. Like the gold about just changing one thing about something you're already maybe private labeling and making a modification to it just so it will fit with what the store that you may be approaching, and so that way you can have two different price points. I love that. Reaching out to people just by checking Yelp and LinkedIn. I love that. And he's got so many more strategies. So again, upgrade to the All Access Pass, get that 30-minute consultation. If you got a product that you're ready to launch in 2021, then definitely you want to be the winner of that 30-minute consultation with him. And it's only available to those who decide to upgrade to the All Access Pass. So Talor, I am so grateful for you. If you guys are interested in his course with Amy, there should be a link somewhere on this page. Definitely sign up for the course. You know, like Amy always brings it. I have so much love and respect for Amy. And now I'm in love with Talor. So he has so many other things he has to do today. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us for the summit. And hey, we'll see you next time. I hope you'll come back and be in our summit in the future.
Right. Thank you so much for having me today, Nicole. It was fun. And we'll see you all guys whenever. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.